Assalamualaikum. We are from Group C. Today, our topic is safety in construction site. For our mini project, we chose road construction as our main focus.
I will be presenting the introduction part of our mini project entitled Safety for Construction Industry. Safety is one of the most important aspects in the construction industry because it determines the success and sustainability of a project. Construction sites usually face various types of hazards such as physical, chemicals, and biological risks that can cause accidents or even fatalities if not controlled properly. For this study, our group conducted a site visit at a road construction project located at Jalan FT 4X6 from Bukit Goh to Kota Kuantan. The purpose of this project is to identify potential hazards at the site, analyze a related case study, and prepare a job safety analysis. Through this study, we aim to improve our understanding and awareness of safety culture in the construction industry.
Our first objective is identify hazards that exist at the construction site based on their classification. Second, discuss a case study related to the identified hazard to understand the causes and effect of unsafe condition or practice. Next, we prepare a high rate which analyze the level of risk and evaluate the potential impact of each hazard. Next, recommend suitable control measure to minimize or eliminate risk and promote a safer working environment. Lastly, this project aims to develop student awareness and responsibility towards safety culture in the construction industry. Classification of hazard. So, for this part, we talk about the type of hazard that can happen at construction site. Basically, hazards are divided into a few categories. Here we'll focus on physical, chemical, and biological hazard. First, physical hazard. A physical hazard is something in the environment that can cause harm to our body, even without touching it. It usually comes from unsafe conditions at the site, like noise, heat, vibration, or falling object. For example, lorry reversed by itself because the handbrake was not full. This is very dangerous because the uncontrolled movement of heavy vehicle can cause serious accident. Next, soil fell onto the top of the lorry. Falling material can injure workers or damage property. Next, worker did not hear the warning because wearing your bulb. When worker cannot hear properly, they become less aware of their surrounding, which increase the chain of accidents. Next, DT road causes car to avoid the site. Muddy or DT road can make vehicle lose control and cause traffic accident. And the last one, uneven worker pathway. Uneven or slippery surface can make workers slip, trip or fall. So, all these are examples of physical hazard that can harm worker or other people nearby. Chemical hazard. Next is chemical hazard. This happens when workers are exposed to dangerous chemical, whether by inhaling, touching, or swallowing them. It can harm people, damage property, or even affect the environment. For example, dust at construction site. Fine dust particle can cause breathing problem and also make it hard to see clearly. So even something that looks small like dust can be a big hazard if not controlled properly. Lastly, we have biological hazard. This type involve a living thing that can cause harm and spread disease like bacteria, virus, or insect. For example, insects such as mosquitoes or hornets. This insect can bite or sting worker and sometimes even spread disease or causes allergic reaction. That's why proper hygiene and pest control at the site are very important. In conclusion, we can see that hazard at construction site come from many different sources, physical, chemical, and biological. Recognizing them really help us plan better control measure and keep everyone safe.
Next, I will be explaining about case study. For this case study, we focus on a situation observed during our visit to the road construction site. This activity took place during the earthwork stage where an excavator was loading soil into a tipper lorry for disposal. During this operation, we noticed that the lorry driver remained seated inside the cabin, even though the excavator was operating directly above the vehicle. This creates a high-risk situation because any mistake or equipment failure could easily result in an accident. The main hazard identified here was the risk of excavator bucket swinging or falling unexpectedly. This could occur due to hydraulic failure, loss of pressure, or even operator error. If the bucket or its load of soil were to fall, it could strike the cabin roof and cause serious or even fatal injuries to the driver. This situation shows how critical it is to enforce strict safety procedures, especially ensuring that drivers exit the vehicle and stay in a designated safe zone during loading activity. Continuing from the previous slide, let's discuss about the main cause and preventive action for this hazard. During our site observation, we identify several root causes that contribute to this unsafe condition. Firstly, the driver stay inside the cabin during the loading operation, which goes against standard safety practice. Secondly, there was no exclusion zone or signalman to control vehicle and equipment movement, meaning communication are unclear. Thirdly, there was poor coordination and supervision between the excavator operator and the lorry driver. Lastly, there was a possibility of hydraulic leaks or pressure loss which could sudden or unintentionally movement of the bucket. To prevent such incident, several countermeasures are recommended. The driver must always exit the lorry before loading begins and wait in a designated safe zone. The site team should establish clear exclusion zones with warning signage to keep worker and equipment safely separated. It is also important to conduct daily inspection on the excavator hydraulic system to detect any leak or pressure issue early. Finally, clear communication and active supervision must be maintained between operator, driver and supervisor throughout all loading operation. This action will help minimize the risk of accident and ensure a much safer environment during work activities. Next are Job Safety Analysis or JSA. The JSA breaks down the activity into several job steps, identify potential hazard and risk, and also suggest suitable countermeasures to ensure the safety of all workers involved. The first job step is positioning the lorry near the excavator for soil loading. In this step, the main hazard is that the lorry may be parked too close to the excavator, which could result in a collision or struck-by incident. To prevent this, workers must maintain a safe distance, clearly mark exclusion zone, and assign a signalman to guide the driver during positioning. The second job step is when the excavator is loading soil into the lorry. Here, the potential hazard is the bucket swinging or falling due to hydraulic failure or operator error. This could cause the driver or nearby worker to be crushed, leading to series of fatal injury. Therefore, daily hydraulic system inspection must be carried out and only trained operators are allowed to handle the excavator. It is also important to maintain a safe loading distance at all times. The third job step is when the driver remains inside the cabin. The main hazard is that falling soil or bucket could strike the cabin, causing several of fatal injuries. To control this risk, the driver must exit the lorry and wait in a designated safe zone during loading. In addition, all workers must wear appropriate PPE such as safety helmet before entering the work area. The fourth job step are communication between operator and driver that have potential hazards such as misunderstanding of signal that bring risk such unexpected movement or collision. To control this hazard, we need to use a standardized hand signal or two-way radios and also conduct briefing to worker before operation. Lastly, completion of loading and lorry departure. Here, the potential hazards are lorry move before operator finish loading that has risk such collision or equipment damage. The recommended countermeasures are wait for signalman instruction and make sure the bucket of excavator are lower before moving.
Okay, now I want to talk about safety report. First, elimination. Restriction of using airbag in hazardous area. Workers did not hear the warning since they were wearing airbag, increasing their risk of physical harm. To prevent the risk, it's critical to adopt a policy prohibiting the use of earphone in hazardous places. This is directly related to Section 50 of OSHA 2022, which stipulates that employees must ensure the safety, health, and welfare of their employees in the workplace. According to the most recent amendment, Section 18B, companies must conduct risk assessment and, if risks are discovered, implement measures to decrease them, such as injury control, administrative control of the deletion of hazard like airbag. Engineering control. Engineering measures such as regular maintenance of building site road and the installation of drainage system to minimize muddy situation can help to reduce the risk of risk. Section 15 of the OSHA Act of 2022 as well as the most recent update to Section 18A require employees to take reasonable precautions to ensure on-site safety, including maintaining a safe work environment. To one-level worker pathway, Actions such as building and maintaining lift pathway as well as installing safety barrier or fences are as needed. Are consistent with Section 18B of OSHA 2022, we require risk assessment and the implementation of controls to ensure safe working conditions and prevent accident caused by physical hazard. This is also supported by Section 20CA, which gives employees the right to leave if there is threat and their employer fails to take action. Next, administrative control. Every risk, such as vehicle operating without handbrake, soil dropping from truck, and dust in the workplace must be handled by systematic administration. As an example, ensure the vehicle safety check and protocols, such as applying the handbrake before parking. Ensure driver exit the vehicle during loading operation and provide appropriate safety briefing. Assigning a team to regularly monitor and destroy mosquito breeding places, conducting dust survey and air monitoring to determine dust levels and plan work to reduce worker exposure. All of these tasks are related to Section 15, 18A, 18B of OSHA 2022, which emphasize the importance of employers and principles during risk assessment, hazard control, and emergency procedure, as well as ensuring workers are exposed to minimal hazard. Lastly, personal protection equipment (PPE). When working in zone where there is a risk of insect like mosquitoes, workers should be told to wear proper protection apparel such as long sleeve and long legs. This action is in accordance with Section 15 of the OSHA Act 2022, which requires the employer safeguard all employees from biological risk at work by providing PPE and appropriate control measure. Employer must carry out risk assessment and put in place suitable control for the biological hazard in the workplace in accordance with OSHA 2022. Section 15 and 18. Under the Act new provision, non-compliance might result in heavy fine of up to 500,000.
Next, I will continue with the discussion part. Based on the site visit at the road construction project in Jalan FT 486, several types of hazards were identified at the site. Among the physical hazards were truck moving without a handbrake, soil falling during loading, and uneven surfaces that could cause workers to slip or trip. There were also chemical and biological hazards such as a dust exposure, mosquitoes, and hornets that could affect workers' health. From our observation, the main problems were the lack of safety supervision, poor communication between workers and operators, and the improper use of personal protective equipment, such as wearing earbuds near machinery. This issue showed the safety procedures were not properly followed at the site. To overcome this problem, several improvements are recommended. For example, conducting regular safety training and briefing, assigning a signalman during loading activities, improving site drainage and walkways, and enforcing proper PPE usage and JSA compliance. By applying these control measures, we can create a safer and more efficient working environment at the construction site.
Lastly, of our slide is conclusion. The safety evaluation of construction activity for the upgrade of Jalan FT 486, persimpangan lampu isyarat Bukit Goh ke Kota Sas, daerah Kuantan Darul Makmur, for a number of physical, chemical, and biological hazards that pose considerable dangers to workers and the site. Key physical hazards were lorry movement owing to loose handbrake, falling soil during loading, noise isolation for workers wearing earbuds, unclear routes generating traffic problem, and uneven walkways increasing slip and trip risk. Biological threats such as mosquito were identified as potential vector of disease spreading, while chemical hazards such as dust exposure were identified as respiratory risk. A comprehensive hazard identification, risk assessment, and risk control (HIRAC) procedure was used to recommend appropriate controls that are consistent with the control hierarchy. Complete compliance to this recommended control measure, proactive guidance, routine maintenance, worker training, and efficient communication are crucial for promoting a safer working environment, reducing hazard, and preventing on-site accident during the upgrade project. To sustain a strong safety culture throughout the building process, the project team and workers must maintain a high level of safety knowledge and accountability. And last for me, strict implementation of safety control and continuous awareness are vital to protect workers, prevent accidents, and ensure the success of construction phase. Thank you.